Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the player ratings for the heartbreaking game against Fremantle yesterday at the G. We lose by a point. It's time for all things black and white. Waking up on a Monday morning, getting ready for your work week and remembering that you lost in a thriller at the G to an interstate side. It hurts, but keep it rolling. Richmond upcoming. But let's talk about some of the player performances, both good and bad. Let's start with the very, very good. And my goodness, how good was Bugsy McCreery? In the end, he finishes with as many tackles as he had disposals. He had 15 touches, 15 tackles, 6 score involvements, 34 pressure acts, which was a game high, and did not have a goal, which has never been a massive blueprint of his game, but he did give away that hand pass to Steele Sidebottom on the boundary for Steele Sidebottom to slot it through on his left foot. So this, for mine, was almost my most favourite game that I've seen Bo a part of, and he didn't even kick a goal. He's a pressure forward, 15 tackles, spent 50% of his time in the game, let's put it this way, he attended 50% of the centre bounces and then rolled forward pretty much almost immediately. Almost, I dare say, almost like that Dustin Martin type where they start in the middle, roll forward thereafter. 4 free kicks he earned, and I felt like there could have been, just watching the game back, he could have earned another 2 or 3 free kicks for his efforts inside forward 50. The pressure was unbearable for Fremantle whenever this guy was around. The perceived pressure, his presence just in their peripheries was enough to haunt them when Bo McCreery was around. So I'm really liking the mixture of Bo McCreery in the middle and Bo McCreery in the forward line. 5 clearances. I'm not too sure how many of them were stoppage versus centre clearances, but 5 clearances is a decent return when you look back at the game and have the third most amount of clearances for your side behind Jack Crisp and Nick Dacos. So I think in some ways we can argue that Bo McCreery was our best player for the game, and I'm going to give Bo a 10 out of 10. I really am. You know what? I'll give him a 9.5 because he didn't have a goal. That's the only thing he was missing. That is very close to my favourite game. And I know there was that game against Geelong at the start of 2023 where he kicked, I think he had like 20-2, and that was a pretty impressive game. I think this beats that for sure. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with that 9.5 rating for Bo McCreery? Next up, let's talk about Ned Long, because once again, he has been a conversation piece in the debate of Tom Mitchell and Ed Allen and Ned Long. It was interesting listening to Fly's press conference after the game. He said to some degree that Tom Mitchell will be back next week against Richmond after being managed. So I don't know if that's Fly planting the seed that another midfielder will be rested in place for Tom Mitchell that will allow Tom Mitchell to come into the side. It could be that. Or is it Fly genuinely thinks Tom Mitchell is a part of our best 23? So that is a piece of the Richmond game that will be a massive topic all week leading to that. So I'm intrigued. I'm fascinated. But Ned Long, for the game, 19 touches, 6 kicks, 13 handballs, 9 contested possessions, 3 clearances, 6 score involvements, and a goal assist. Had that nice kick going inside 50 to Jamie Elliott late in the game. Unfortunately, Jamie Elliott could not finish it. 12 tackles as well. That type of game from Ned Long, I'm happy with that. I think Fremantle laid some really strong tackles on Ned Long where he wasn't able to dispose the ball in that last quarter, early in that first half of that fourth quarter, where normally he gets it off. That's how well Freo were tackling in that portion of the game. I think if he has a couple more touches there and gets free of the tackles there, could have been a different game in a way that we would have moved from that handball release. I rated his game. He was much better than the game against Geelong. He was quieter in the first half against Fremantle, but really lifted in that second half. 80% of his time in the midfield and spent 82% time on ground, which for a midfielder is a decent return, isn't it? So, what rating would I give Ned Long? I would say I'm giving Ned Long a 7 out of 10. I think that's fair. A 7 out of 10 for Ned Long. Next up, let's talk some negative. Mr. Oleg Marov. Unfortunately, with Markov, Markov worked his way into the side for tooth and nail to get to where he is today. The game yesterday was a bit of a step backwards for him. I just felt, watching the game back, he's been playing the easy option for the most part this year, and that's what's kept him in the side, and he does all the little things right. His disposal has been good. Yesterday, he had easy options, but he wanted to do more, and I don't know why. That's not Markov. Markov should know. Markov knows. Just give the ball to the player, the next best player. Give the ball to the player next to you, because they probably are a better kick than you in some way. But he just kept trying to do too much, like he was trying to prove something. That's never been Oleg Markov. 12 touches. I mean, the disposal efficiency doesn't talk to the turnovers. Yeah, just a bit disappointing. Goal assist, can't remember where that came from. Yeah, it was a disappointing game for Oleg Markov, because I really like what he's done to get back into the side. But I'm going to give Markov a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. So we've done Markov, we've done McCreary, we've done Ned Long. Who else can we talk about here from Collingwood? McStayles will be quiet. I mean, Charlie Dean, we can talk about Charlie Dean. Just the one kick, 10 handballs. Just, look, to put it bluntly, guys, if Jeremy Howe was there in place of Charlie Dean yesterday, we're not losing, and Patrick Voss is not kicking 6 goals. Rest assured, I can promise you that. Unfortunately, that's what it comes down to. Was Charlie Dean horrible yesterday? No. Early in the game, he was beaten in a couple of contests. The ball trickled past him for that first goal that Vossi scored. Just, yeah, didn't have those moments. He's not really intercepting the ball. He had 6 intercept possessions, but 0 intercept marks. Good ball user, by hand, by foot. That's proven at VFL level. His hands were good yesterday in sequences, but yeah, it's probably the last game he's going to play for the Collingwood Football Club. Perhaps. I'm going to give Charlie Dean, I'll give him a 5 out of 10. 2 more players. Let's go Darcy Cameron, 20 touches and 5 intercept marks. Arguably, some of you would be saying Nick Dacos was best on, Darcy Cameron was best on, or Bo McCreary was best on. Darcy Cameron was the highest rated player on the ground. Like I said, 20 touches, 10 contested possessions, 8 intercept possessions, with 5 of them being intercept marks and 3 contested marks. It's a monster game. It's a monster game from Darcy Cameron. Anytime that ball was in the air and it was within his vicinity, he was simply marking the ball and gave us repeat opportunities. It's unfortunate with the amount of inside 50s we had and the amount of dominance, positional dominance we had to own that territory. It was just disappointing we couldn't get onto the scoreboard enough, but credit to Freo. They parked the bus when needed and got the job done. But I wouldn't have that game placed any other way like it was on yesterday. We played that game the way it played out. 10 times, we win 9 out of 10 times, with yesterday being the one we lose, unfortunately. So, yeah, Darcy Cameron was a big piece to why we were able to get so many repeat inside 50 entries, just because he could not be beaten in the air. He was impervious. I'm going to give Darcy Cameron a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. Maybe a couple more clearances or a goal, and he gets that 10 out of 10. Lastly, we want to talk about, who was it that I was looking at? Let's quickly see. Mason Cox. Let's be quick with Mason Cox. Probably another player who's maybe played his last game for the club. He's been a great service to the club, but yesterday just felt like it was one of those games where he had one less player on the field, unfortunately. And you get Mason Cox against Gold Coast, who was great. And then you get Mason Cox this week, who was just below the level. We just can't afford that right now. And there was a few aerial contests that I think Tim Embry, if in place of Mason Cox, takes those marks. It's as simple as that. Let's not overcomplicate it, right? For that reason, Mason Cox, I will give you a 3 out of 10 for yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the player ratings. Let's move on to Richmond. And as always, go Pies.